only strengthen...
President Obama announced his priorities in an address to Congress in January.
This year, I will work with Congress and our military to finally repeal the law that denies gay Americans the right to serve the country they love because of who they are.
Those words revived the debate over Don't Ask, Don't Tell, a 1993 law that allows gays and lesbians to serve in the armed forces only if their sexual orientation remains secret. Several high-ranking military officials backed the president's call for repeal. Defense Secretary Robert Gates.
I fully support the president's decision. The question before us is not whether the military prepares to make this change, but how we best prepare it.
And the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral Mike Mullen.
No matter how I look at this issue, I cannot escape being troubled by the fact that we have in place a policy which forces young men and women to lie about who they are in order to defend their fellow citizens.
But chiefs of individual military branches are less enthusiastic about repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Marine Corps Commandant James Conway said the policy works and should remain. Retired Marine General John Sheehan agrees.
This particular argument has to do with the supposed right to declare oneself to be sexually attracted to a particular segment of the population and insist on continuing to live in the most intimate proximity with them. In my experience, homosexual Marines create problems on the battlefield.
Backers of ending the ban point to America's allies, like Israel and Britain. Both countries ended bans on gay service members with little, if any, apparent consequence. New York Congressman Gerald Nadler.
Nobody will say that the Israeli army is not a very effective fighting force. And they have had gays and lesbians in the military openly for a long, long time.
British Member of Parliament Nick Herbert gives a similar assessment.
In the UK, we've allowed gays to serve openly in our military for 10 years. No one can credibly claim that our troops' effectiveness serving alongside US forces in Afghanistan has been compromised by this policy.
But some argue that America's armed forces bear unique responsibilities on the world stage, and any potential disruption should be avoided in wartime. Republican Senator John McCain was a Navy pilot and prisoner of war in Vietnam. He opposes repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
It would also present yet another challenge to our military at a time of already tremendous stress and strain.
Backers of repeal cheered President Obama's January announcement, but some say the Pentagon's effort to study the matter amounts to a delaying tactic that will give opponents time to mount a negative campaign with anti-gay stereotypes. Legislation to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell has been drafted, but congressional leaders have not committed to a vote this year. Michael Bowman, VOA News, Washington.